Hello, everyone. I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for our first episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. And today we are joined by the founder of Unshakable Self-Confidence, the podcast. He is also a best-selling author of a book called Unshakable Self-Confidence, Mr. Billy Atwell. Billy, welcome to the show.
Hey, Paul, how's it going?
It is going great, man. I'm really excited about this, and I want to personally thank you for your help. For those that don't know, this is actually our first podcast episode that we just mentioned, and Billy is actually a podcast guru in addition to being a best-selling author, and he actually helped me a great deal with our podcast, so thank you for helping me get set up and everything. And let's get going. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
You want the short answer or the long answer?
Whatever you want, my friend.
Well, I think the short answer, and forgive me for saying it, but just get off your ass and do it. The long answer is, and because, in full disclosure, I mean, you coached me. You helped me to get through that process. I was totally afraid. When you came on my show, we were talking about I had a desire to write a book, and I was petrified. So when I say get off your ass and do it, I just, that comes easy for me now. But in all truth, it's not really that hard. And all those fears that you're imagining that you can't do it and you're not relative and who's going to buy your book, they're lies. And if you just really get up your ass and do it, you'll discover that for yourself. So that would be my advice is stand up to that fear and just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, don't be afraid to take the plunge. That is excellent answer. And just to let our viewers know, our listeners, Billy was one of my all-time favorite clients. We gave him a game plan. He implemented it, and his book's been a #1 bestseller for 5 months now, 6 months?
7.
Yeah, he's doing an amazing job. So Billy, it's just an absolute pleasure to work with you, and I'm thrilled to have you on our podcast today. So are you ready for question number 2?
Let's do it.
What do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
Not to plug your system, because your system really was, and I think it worked perfectly for me because we've talked about this. I come from an athletic background. I love coaching. You lay out a plan for me and I'm going to do it. So I would say for me, again, it was that self-doubt. That was the hardest part, was me dealing with my self-destructive behaviors, the negative thought patterns of, oh, I can't do this. But when I really understood and saw that, it was easy after that for me, because it was just, let's get her done, So I can't attest for everyone, but that was me. That was my problem. I was the obstacle. I was the one that was either going to do it or not do it, and it was all on me. It wasn't about whether it could be done or how to get it done or any of those steps. The steps are the steps are the steps are the steps, right? Those don't change. It was just me getting myself and my ego and my own fears on board. And when I did that, it was easy peasy, sail breezing, whatever, that was the hardest part, was dealing with me.
Yeah, it's just trusting the process and going with it. That was the great thing about our program is, we have the systems. The main thing is taking those first steps, then taking the steps beyond that. And that's exactly what you did. So let's go to question number 3. Please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that worked well.
I think there were 2 things that I found real success in that I wasn't sure I was going to be able to have success. When you launch your book on Amazon, you have a certain opportunity window to get that ranking, right? And part of that is getting reviews. And I thought maybe I might get 1 or 2. But when I actually started to contact people, and to get those reviews. And I didn't just like, I asked everybody. I asked all my guests. I asked all my friends, anyone and everyone. And it was, to me, that was amazing. That was probably the first part of success for me, was not only getting those reviews, but they were glowing reviews. It was just, and I think after that, that helped build the confidence. And then I went into the second part of the marketing phase, which of course, we're talking that you helped coach me, was to get on those email blast list for like the Fussy Librarian and all those other marketing things. You don't actually have to do the marketing. I think that was a big thing for me too, being a podcaster and having to market, your brand on all these things. It was easy. It was totally easy. It was just go to their scheduling system, pay whatever fee, which was really nominal. I think the most I ever paid for was like $50. And they do all the work. I was really shocked and surprised at how easy it was to get your book to number one on Amazon. Shockingly easy. So yeah, that I think that was just, you do those things, you follow that list, you use those resources, and you don't have to worry about it. You just pay someone else to do it.
Yeah, and that's essentially what happened. We created a custom marketing plan for you, and then from that point, you plugged and played, set everything up, and 6 months later, your book is still a number one bestseller.
Yeah, yeah.
So, question number 4: what is your favorite book, and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
God, that's so funny, Paul. I was thinking this morning, right, because I asked that question on my show, and I'm like, God, did someone ever ask me that question? And ironically, here we are. Okay, so I've got 2 books that I rely on in my life. Both of them are by Richard Bach. When I feel the resistance and obstacles from other people, because right, when you're an achiever, when you're trying to reach goals, a lot of people, like 90% of this world, they don't achieve their goals, and they do it out of their own self-fear. And if they see you making progress and reaching your goals and being confident and happy and all these things, they come against you. You see this in religion, you see this in friends and family, when you're trying to break mental thought patterns, that get passed down from families, all that stuff. So Jonathan Livingston Seagull is my resource for that. It is on my nightstand at all times. And I use that narrative that Richard Bach creates with the seagull, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, about the rejection, when you know that I can't live in this box. I know that we were built for more, and I want to reach and stretch and grow and be all that I was created to be. And the other book is his book, which came after Jonathan Livingston Seagull, which is Illusions, the story of a reluctant Messiah. And I think because of my own personal journey of, and my heroes being like Buddha and Jesus and Gandhi, these spiritual guys, that when you go on that spiritual path, it's hard enough. And there's some really great insight on there on how to sort of walk that path without fear. And again, when people don't understand, they come against you, and you just have to realize that it's their own self-doubt, their own fear. So those 2 books are the books that I keep with me at all times.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. And question number 5: what is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite all-time quote, which is in my book, Unshakable Self-Confidence, everywhere, it's part of my coaching program, is "As God is, so are we in this world." And that, of course, comes out of the Bible from 1 John 4:17. The reason it is my favorite quote, and of all times, I mean, everyone has lots of favorite quotes, but that says it all right there. That is my source of confidence. That is where I get my belief in myself and my ability to do things. And when I'm exhausted or tired, I remember that there's this divine connection between us and our Creator, and that we have access to anything and everything, and that includes energy, confidence, and the ability to stand up to fear and all those things. That's the quote that I live by. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Billy, I want to thank you for being our very first guest on our podcast. And I want to ask you, what is the best way for people to find you online?
www.unshakableselfconfidence.com. You can find me on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. I have a Facebook group called Unshakable Self-Confidence. That's pretty much everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, excellent, Billy. Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge with us and wish you all the best in the future.
Much success to you too as well. Thank you.
All right, Billy. Thanks again. Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how to get your book published with a proven system that works, grab a free copy of my book at getpublishedpodcast.com.